All right, looks like starting to roll. I see 3 out of 5 connected. All right. What's up, everybody? We'll get started in just a few minutes. If you are in chat, just give me a hey, say what's up in chat. Haven't seen anyone yet, but that's all right. Hey, Mr. Flippy Floop. All right, so that means we're getting some people. That's awesome. All right. So we'll get started in about 4 minutes, guys. Just kind of hanging out, waiting for people to show up. Kind of just sitting here, waiting to show you guys some proxies. And that probably won't take so long. So, it's kind of going to be free for all tonight for questions. I'm going to move my camera over a bit. Yeah, that's a little better, a little more centered. If anyone else is joining, just give me a shout, hey, in the chat. And if you got any questions lined up already, go ahead and throw them out there, because it's probably going to be pretty quick to cover proxies. They're not too intense, pretty straightforward. And then, we'll just start messing around, see what we can break. Loaded up. What's up, Jason? Oh, you know what? Somebody else wanted to watch the stream, and I'm going to switch back to me for a second, make sure that they realize it's happening. Where was it? Andre, if you're watching, dude, let me know in the chat, because I know we were talking earlier about it. Cool. All right, get out of that, minimize, switch back to Cinema. So if you guys hear any background noise, which you probably shouldn't, but Dave is at NAB East, and he's about to hang out with Paul Babb, which is pretty awesome. I'm a little bit envious of that. Decals. Oh, man. Mr. Flippy Floop, you're Andre? I didn't know that. Yeah, Andre Fry. Cool, dude. Decals... Yeah, you were asking about that earlier. So, yeah, I think we can cover that in a little bit. Proxies are going to be so fast that...
Look through some of the comments.
You went through some of the comments?
Look through some of our comments in the last couple weeks and just see if there's anything in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think there were a few things.
A lot of them have been AOV requests. So let me bring up. I know a lot of people keep asking for AOVs.
You have RedShift Rick up right now, right?
I did, and then I switched back to me. Let me see. So. Yeah, I'll check out. Cool. So let's see. Somebody asked for comments, rain in RedShift, how to light. Can you make a tutorial on how to light the cube or other objects? Like David Ariew. Okay. I can try and imitate Octane Jesus. That's hard. David is one and only. You have to pray to him if I show anything like that. Let's see, what else? All right, so decals, lighting. See if there's, and rain in RedShift. I have to think about that. That's probably like an X particles thing that I have to do. All right, let me jump back into Cinema here. There we go, and get my chat back up over here. Do the decal as Rick's vomit. What's up, Billy? All right, so proxies are really easy. If you haven't watched the tutorial yet, it's probably the shortest RedShift tutorial yet. I think it came in at like 20 minutes. What proxies are they're kind of like an Alembic file, but specifically for RedShift, and so it's just packaged up really neat, and when you bring it into your scene, it's just a bounding box. There's no real geometry loaded unless you choose to have it loaded. So to demonstrate that, cool, thanks Dave. So I'm gonna just group this and call this Rick, and under RedShift or under file, you're gonna go down to export RedShift proxy, and we'll just call it Rick RS. Makes it easy. And you get all these simple settings. It's either selected objects, or you can do all the objects in a scene. So you can literally export a whole RedShift scene and then bring it into another scene and start working with it without actually bringing in the geometry. And it would just only load up in the render view over here. So I'm just going to do selected objects. Compress data, so that will keep it nice and small, and then you can say, do you want it world origin here or just object bounds, and then you can add the proxy to the scene if you want. So I'll just do that, and we'll call this RS Rick, and that's that. Hit OK, and I'll export it. So if I turn off Rick here, you'll see he's actually still here. He's just this bounding box though, and you can rotate him around, and it's all the geometry, all the textures carry over too. So if you've already textured something, you don't have to worry about it again. You can actually retexture stuff really easily as well, and I go through that in the tutorial through, let me just bring on the mesh here. So if I turn on mesh, you can see right here, it's just a low level of detail. And let me just start a new material here. And if I throw that on Rick, nothing's going to happen. But if I go down to materials from and choose object, it'll pull in this new material. And then you can do by scene, and then you can start picking out individual elements too if you need to. So if you need to recolor the hair or the jacket or whatever. So really easy way to start working really quickly. And then if you throw it in a cloner too, it's super fast. So I'm going to just turn on the bounding box, throw this in a cloner. You see you get all these bounding boxes there. and they are actually RICs. And so we'll turn on render instances because you can treat these as instances too, even though they're kind of already instances. And you know what, I'm gonna just do a grid. We can do like 50 by 50 and maybe 500 by 500. And I'm gonna go ahead and set my undersampling to 3, and I don't even think I have my, oh, I do have IP, okay, cool. My progressive rendering. So there's all those RICs really fast. And you can just layer or lower this back. I already did 150, I just want 5. And 5. So the only thing that's really taking time is just the calculation. So if we look down here, we've got all those RICs, and this can probably be like 250 now. And if you have other, what are my GPU specs? I have 3 980 Ti's. So nothing special. It could be faster if I get some 1080s. So if you're working on a team and they already have, say, some RedShift proxies, you don't need all the files and everything right there with you. It's going to be packed into that proxy. So let's go into the one that I made last week, and I will have all these proxies right here. So let's bring in a tree, and you'll see it's baked in there. I'm not working in that folder. I'm working in a completely different folder, and it brings everything in. It's baked right into that. So now if I do these as random, and I'll just do one across here. And spread these out a bit more, spread these out some more. So now you can see there's RICs in the trees too, and everything's baked in there. And right now I have my undersampling on set to 3 just so it's super fast for you guys since I'm streaming at 4K. So if I go around super fast and it just takes a second to catch up. But even if I bring, let me see what my settings are at right now. Yeah, so they're not too high. If I turn on my buckets, it's still really fast. I covered displacement in 2 tutorials ago with using the node shader, but I can cover that a little bit tonight. So I can actually cover that probably pretty well with this tree if I go into that tree file. And yeah, stuff like displacement gets baked into this too. Everything gets baked into these objects, which is great. And you can see it's just powering right through them. Like, that come from World Machine. I mean, this is a 3D scan from Megascans, this tree. So, I mean, I have quite a few like high detailed displacements. Let me close out of this and I'll go into that. So close, I don't need to save this. And I'll turn off RedShift. Let's see if I have. Yeah, I don't have that loaded up right now. I moved it. Probably this will be okay. This probably has the original trees in it, maybe. There's the tree proxies. I think I have one tree in here that wasn't converted to a proxy. So let's just let this all load in. There we go. So this is the scene that I used for the last tutorial about proxies. And let me just go ahead and go into my camera here, turn this on. And you'll see that I just have bounding boxes on here. And then once this loads up, which I had buckets on, let me turn that off. There we go. So once I turned off my buckets and everything, I think, yeah. So it looks like the tree is the only this tree down here that's laying down is the only asset that I have loaded up that is just not a proxy. So I'll just delete everything. Oh, probably shouldn't have deleted my lights, but that's all right. I'll add some more lights in. All right, so let's focus on this tree. And you're talking about displacement, and I don't have a displacement tag on, so I'll throw one on. So for displacements, you have to put a RedShift object tag on. Go into your attributes, which mine are right down here. And under geometry, you're going to do override and then hit enable displacement. And let me just see if, yeah, I need to throw a light on in here because I have my default one disabled. So we'll just do a generic dome. And I wonder if I have the materials loaded properly. It should be all right. Why aren't you loading properly, tree? All right, we'll just start fresh. I'll just start with a fresh mega scan for you guys. So if I go into 3D mega scans, we'll just start with a tree. And this is a high level detailed tree. So you can see level details 5, and then all these other ones are super high up here. Bring this in, just geometry. What's up, Casey? So this is going to load in. Let me focus on the tree here. So there's that tree. It's the same one from before. And I believe, is it this one there? No. All right, so I'm going to clear all these out, and we'll start with a fresh RedShift material and how to get displacement. So here's just the material coming in. I'm going to drag that onto our object here. You'll see it's going to turn to plastic in a second. So I've got that. And for displacement, I'm going to throw our RedShift tag back on here. And as I just said, geometry, override, and then displacement. And so we'll go into our shader graph, which I keep tabbed down here. I'll slide this up for you guys to see a little better. Bring this over. And so we're going to bring in a texture. And I just do a quick search for it, bring in this node here. And I'm going to go ahead and rename it to displace. Whoop, displace. There we go. And we could probably just make it like orangish. We'll throw that here. So from our displace texture, we're going to go down to overall. Or sorry, we're doing a displacement, not a bump. So from our displace, we're going to go into displacement. We need to grab one of those as well, which is a little utility here. And we're going to connect that over to this. Go to texture, texture map, and let's go find the texture for this. So that's going to be under general. Click these dots. And we're going to have to go back to our mega scans right here. 3D. Boom. So for displacement, let me just find that. That's this right here. We'll pipe that in and don't need to make a copy. So displacement is going to be found under output, much like Arnold. And so we bring this up here, go in, and you'll see displacement. As soon as we throw that on, RedShift will do its thing and start showing displacement. It might take a second because sometimes it tries to cache in the background. Looks like it's all caught up. So let me come in close to this. So we start getting some details on here. Nope, extracting mesh. Yeah, this is a really high mesh count. All right, so you can see all these displacement details in here. And I'm going to go ahead and do undersampling again. Make sure that's on. 64 is pretty good. And I'm going to bring in another texture just to give you guys some more details to look at. So it's not just plastic. And I'll pipe that into our diffuse color. And so diffuse is sometimes also called albedo right there. Don't need to copy it. So now we've got that brought in. Still a little bit shiny. So shiny! If anyone knows Moana. And that's just because we started with plastic and I haven't adjusted the roughness there. But if you look at the displacement here, you can see it's like this is a high poly count right here. Let me turn on these polys. Quick shading lines. So there's a ton of polys in there, but it's not displaced at all like this. So this is all done from the displacement, and you can control it really well in here. So if you want to control the start range that comes into it and then set a new range, we can just do that really easily here. So let's say we want this to be stretched out a little bit more. So that's stretching out some. Or if you want to increase the height, you can just do that right there with scale. You'll see this gets really bumpy and kind of rounded. If you want to go deeper, you can go into the negatives. And so this displacement's super fast. Paul is on the way over for a drink. Man, tell Paul hello, even though I've never met him. I'm a huge fan. Paul Bab 2020. So as we adjust this more, you're welcome, Yusuf. You'll see that we start to get jaggeds just because it's like really trying to push it. But you can throw it some other information too. So it can be a tangent instead. So it just calculates a little bit differently instead of just based on the object. You can do it through vectors instead of the map. So this might crash it. Vectors and tangents. It's thinking. Oh, there we go. It's going. I shouldn't have moved anything. There we go. So you'll see it's not as deep with the grooves, and it's probably because I'm at like 0.28, but some of these like subtle details in here have kind of just been flushed away based on doing different map encoding. So if I go back to a height field, it's going to update the objects in a second. What's up, Serge? Hope nobody's actually feeling the bab when he's getting his drink. All right, so that's displacements. So the other question was rain, and let me scroll back up. Displacements and decals. All right, so Andre had asked about doing a decal. So a decal's gonna be pretty similar to loading in a texture. Let me kill this here. And if you don't know about this, and I talked about this I think the last live stream too, but you get a ton of cool objects already. I think under food, maybe it's glassware. One of these has, is it packaging? Yeah, packaging. All right, so we'll just do a soda can. We don't have to do a whole bottle and everything, but so Noxum cold. Oh man, that sounds delicious. So yeah, if you don't know, RedShift handles C4D shaders pretty well now. It had an issue for a little while, but now it pipes them in pretty well. So it's not 100%. I still like to use the RedShift shaders and make my own. But if you are coming from standard or physical and you're really used to just doing those shaders, you can use this, and it converts pretty dang well. So now that we've got that loaded in there, why don't we start recreating this? And so you can see in here, let me bring up this material editor, that this is just a label or a decal. It's not exactly a full decal or like a cutout decal. This one's like a full UV map, but it's the same idea. So start with a new material right here, and we're gonna call this soda RS so we don't get them confused. And you can see with this can what they've done too to make it shiny and aluminum. By the way, shiny is going to be like the word of the night. If anyone says shiny, I'll scream like Pee Wee Herman. It's just a running thing at the moment for Moana and Shiny. But breaking this down, this is aluminum, like a metal right here, and then this is on top, so it gives a more realistic feel to it. And I'm sure, let me just jump out of RedShift and go into physical and do Control R, show you guys. So you can kind of see it right here. There's like a little bit of a rim light effect going on and hitting that and getting specular. You don't really see it in there because RedShift can't read multiple materials like that. So let me go back down to RedShift, go into this. All right, so the way we're going to build this is cans are aluminum, right? Do the C4D shaders slow down your efficiency like an oct? They do a little bit, yeah, because they're kind of converting in the background. That's okay, Casey. You can totally mention rival renders, dude. I'm kind of agnostic as much as I keep doing RedShift tutorials. Like 2 weeks ago, I had to do a project in Octane, and it was purely because the other designer I was working with was working in Octane. So I think everyone should learn as much as they can about all the render engines. Just because I favor one or two over the other doesn't mean that I don't appreciate other ones too. Like Corona's great for ArcViz. So, you know, there's lots of reasons to study all of them. Like cycles, if you are working in Cinema4D and not in Houdini, you can't get the same kind of control from particles that you can with cycles. Like you can do so much more just because it's integrated into X particles, or X particles is integrated into cycles. So if you guys have questions about other shaders or other engines and how they compare, don't feel bad. I will talk to you guys about them. So yes, it's kind of like Octane, Casey. It doesn't feel like it's a big hit, but it does too. Like as I'm moving around, I can notice that it's just got like a little hint of stutter. So anyway, back to building this. So we've got this. The base in RedShift is always kind of like this plasticky feel. So I'm going to go in and just choose aluminum. And man, this dome light is hot as hell. So we'll just do an HDR link to little Metal Studio. Just do that and link this up there. Should help out a little bit. There we go. Get some better lines on that. So now it kind of actually looks like a can and not just a blown out white cylinder. All right, so for this material, I'm going to call this just aluminum, or alum. We'll just leave it there, keep it short, because I hate how long things get in here, and then you have to move everything around, and even if you hit control and double tap, it doesn't always fit sometimes. There's my little vent of the night about that. So there's two ways we can go about this. We can either start bringing in a texture and working with this, or we can create another material and blend them together. So I'm going to show you both ways. Texture is going to be really fast, but you don't have really nitpicky controls. So for a texture, just like we were doing before with the displacements, it's going to be the same kind of idea. So let's go ahead and rename this diffuse. And I'm going to go in here and just steal this from here and use it over here. So if I go into general and paste the path of that there, that will copy over. And I can pipe that into this here for this fuse color, and it will update a second. Do I not have my, I don't have my diffuse turned up. Sorry about that. There we go. Give it a little bit more roughness. All right, so you can see that this isn't picking up the UV map the same way. So there's a few ways we can combat that. And it looks like, oh, you know what? It's because there's a selection tag. That's how they were doing it before too. I bet one is there. Maybe we don't have to do anything fancy. Selection one. So there we kind of are getting it. So there's a few ways we can combat this. We can either select our texture, our shader, which we already have, and we can start to move it around in here. And So what I'm doing is using this UV map adjustment. That's kind of doing it. It's just kind of rotating around in circles. Kind of getting it there if I go from side to side. But it looks like it might be flipped too. It's getting some like weird going on. This stream comes with sound effects apparently tonight. Yeah, so that's, you know, it's not great. So we can try and combat that by one way. Let's try a triplanar and see if that will fix it. We might have to move it around a little bit more in the coordinates and scales, but let's start here. So throw in the triplanar, and what that's going to do is it's going to say to start wrapping the edges of things together. It's particularly good for when you don't have a UV map. And so it's kind of doing that. It's wrapping it, but it looks like the scale's still not great. So why don't we bring this down to like 05, 0.005, 0.005. It's still not great. If I move this around, it's not really liking it. So the other thing that we can do is in here you can remap things. So I think I'm going to try first off killing the wrap in here. So see if wrapping that is doing it, and bring this up a little bit more. All right. It's the X that's controlling the up for this. I forgot about that. There we go. Kind of getting that. I'm going to rotate my light, see if we can get a little bit better light going on. Sort of gives it really hot specular. Let's go up to 2 here. Sort of. But you can see that even though we're starting to kind of get it placed, it's reversed and flipped. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a -1 here. -1. See if that helps. And come on up. Now man, if Matt is watching this, he's probably laughing his butt off because he was having the same trouble with his his cup head the other day. That's not wanting to do that. All right, let's try 0.5. But now we're getting that weird seam. Make sure this is set to cubic. UV mapping. No, it should be a UV map since it's got the UV. And now it's not coming back at all, even though. All right, let's go ahead and go back to wrap and wrap. Let's offset this a little bit. Yeah, I saw he had to go into Octane for that. Scale this up. Try rotating it. That's just rotating it, moving around. Oh, wait. There we go. Looks like it's kind of flipping it. If I do 180. Not quite. I am failing at this, guys. I am sorry. Maybe if I pipe my UV channel in here, how'll that handle it? Come on. Let's offset it. Do mirror and mirror. Doesn't want to mirror it either. Come on. Well, guys, you may have found something that has stumped me. just completely reset that. Make sure this is back to normal there too. All right, try this one more time. So the mirroring should switch that. So if I bring it back up, all right, let's change that. No, let's take that one off. All right, if I turn the wraps off, it like really does not want to. Oh man, are these, let's see, select polygons. Let me see if, no, the normals were fine. Interesting. So Matt, now I know what you're talking about, dude. This is really strange. Let me see if I turn tile off here. I'm gonna turn these wraps off here. It's like the scaling down isn't actually fully scaling it down. Yeah, negative value isn't going to do anything, it seems like. So if I hit a negative value, it like completely, oh, that was, hold on, that was the offset. If I do -1, it just kind of like throws it away. And then,
What if you change it on the tag itself, in the material tag?
maybe, let me see if I can, if I update the material tag. So do 1 and 1. Might be onto something. Okay, so we'll just set this back to 100 and -100. Oh, wait. Is it so is it supposed to be Maxon Cola, but it's just Maxon backwards? So it looks like I got it now. Okay, so let's see if it's updating. But it's still not giving a one-to-one relationship to this. So it's like adjusting. Yeah, it doesn't look like adjusting these actually does anything. Right, yeah. Yeah, I wonder if it is a bug, because Matt was having the same issue, and Andre, I'm sorry. Matt from Brograph was trying to do this with his model for that new video game cup. I just said it a minute ago. Whatever. Yeah, Cuphead. And he couldn't get it to work, and I sat there and walked through it with him and did it, but on my end with a different texture, and now I'm having the exact same issue. So you know what? Matt was using a TIFF too, and I'm pretty certain this is a TIFF. Yeah, this is a TIFF. I wonder if it's an issue with the TIFF. I'm just going to go ahead and show this. Whoa. What, open? No, I want to... I'm just going to save it out and bring it into Photoshop and see if using something else... Okay. Let's do desktop. All right. Do a quick save as a TIFF, or from a TIFF to, let's do PNG. And desktop soda illustration, that's fine. Does RedShift not like TIFFs? Is that a bug? We're about to find out. Yes, go ahead and create a copy. Nope, same deal. All right, so Andre, I'm gonna have to postpone your question, I think, for this, because that seems like it's probably a bug. That's upsetting. If I offset this, it will slide up the way it should. But if I hit mirror, it's not actually mirroring it. If I bring up the gamma. All right, let me see if I can. So even doing like gamma adjustments isn't controlling anything at the moment. If I do a bucket render, nope. All right, I'm gonna clear out this UV info. It's back down to 1. So you want to flip it all. All right, here's my goal for a tutorial next week, is to do a decal properly and figure out what the heck is going on, because that sucks. What is magnification? What does this do? Anything? Nope. Nope. So that's weird too. Why is this moving it up and down? Seems like, is it rotating it at all? Okay, it is rotating. It's not going up and down. That is right. Okay. So let's see if I do 0.8, 0.8. I'm getting, my OCD is kicking in. I'm wanting to solve this problem right now. Let's see, 0.8. Okay, so where did you move to? It's kind of, so 0.8, let's see, negative 0.8. Okay, maybe I'm on something. Okay, let's see. All right, man, it's taken like some super finicking to get it, and even this is like shoddy. All right, so it does handle negative integers. This is getting a seam over there, so bring this over here. Still need to scale it down some, which is obnoxious. So if we do like 0.5 and negative 0.5, where'd that place everything? All right, well, Andre, here's the deal. I'm going to try and figure this out and know it better. I thought I knew it because I was doing it with Matt the other day and I didn't have the issue, and I thought it was just a bug with whatever install he had. And it looks like I have that same bug at the moment. So that sucks. Sorry about that. So what was the other question? Do I still have that up? YouTube. I think it's gonna load over here on my other page. There we go. All right, Brograph. There's one other question from this week. I just want to make sure I cover that. Proxies. Show more. Show more, like I asked. There we go. Rain, and then how to light the cube or other objects like a cool way David Ariew does. All right, so David's question. All right, so let's see if we can mimic David with cool glowing cubes and stuff. I think that's what they mean. Clear this out. Clear this out. Let me just bring up David's site. ariavisuals.com. I think I have an extra R in there. There we go. If you don't know who David Ariew is, he is an awesome C4D artist, and he specializes mostly in using Octane. So you can see his reel playing in the background here. Let's go ahead and just take a look at this is work. I think maybe his Instagram might be the best place to look. Let's go Instagram. Oh, cool cube stuff is the question, right?
You might want to check EJ's site for that too.
Yeah, I can check out EJ's too. Glowing cube. I'm thinking that's probably something like this, or like the dead mouse cube. Maybe that's what they mean. Which that was a bunch of people working on that. That was like everybody from Brograph and David and Dead Mouse himself. Here's space. And it looks like it ends there. All right, so let's find a cube. I think this is mostly just looks like a displacement map and bump maps. All right, let's make a cube. Goal of the cube. So come on down. There we go. I'm going to flip back and forth between this just to have reference. So I'm going to do a 1:1 ratio. So we'll just make this like 1080 by 1080, I guess. And we can probably pull this back a little bit. Shout out to J Displacement. Billy, is that what David's using? I just downloaded that J Displace. I don't know that I installed it though.
Yeah, that's what he's using. He's using that a lot.
Oh, well, I don't have it installed right now, so we're just going to use displacement maps. So we'll use the French monkey because I have his Tekkit pack, and that should do the job. All right, so we've got our 1:1 square ratio, so we can kind of keep referencing this. Back this up a little bit, and it looks like he's got a light up here, a light over here, so probably a rim light. J displacement is what all those greeble goops are made of. Okay. Greeble goops is good. So you know what? I think we're going to do some actual modeling here. So what I'm going to do is just kind of screw around for a minute, just making. So we're going to go in a little bit here, maybe go in a little bit more here, come out, go in some more. If you're asking how I'm switching between these so fast, if you hit D on the keyboard, that is extrude, and then I is inner. So you can go in, and then D for extrude. And if you want to be really fast, you can do US for subdivide, US, subdivide it again. And I think I'll just copy some of these. Bring that out there. All right. Most of these edges probably need some kind of bevel. I don't feel like dealing with that right now. So we can just do these ones here. If you hit UL, you can do a loop selection. And yeah, I should have beveled to begin with. That's all right. I'm used to RedShift's beveling where you can do it whenever you want. All right, so I'm just going to select these top edges here. And I'm not going to worry. I'll just do the bottom because it's only 2 more selections. So if you hit MS, like multiple sclerosis, come on. I want to bring up my dialog. MS. If you do it really fast. control click to edge mode to convert. I'm not sure what you mean. Grab the polys and, oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, you can control click, but I wanted to do a loop selection and completely bypass that. But sometimes I don't want to select all the edges. So like these inner ones right here, I don't want to select those edges. And doing it that way usually does that. Let me just, for giggles, control click. Yeah, see, so like these ones I don't want to bevel. I only want to bevel the other ones. All right, so I'm just gonna hit DD really fast. There we go, so I can get my attributes up. MS, MS. There we go, there's bevel. All right, did I just lose my selection? There we go. So 10 is gonna be way too much. We'll just do like 2 and a subdivision of 2 and start to finesse that a little bit. All right, looking good enough. Let me see if I can get a, oh yes, all right, quick. Bevel's done here, boom, boom, boom. And do that, and new transform. Cool, all right, so, you know, that's round, OCD kicking in for details. No, I'll just leave those. Those can be sharp edges. Screw it. All right, so we've got a cool little cube here, and see if I'm just seeing if there's any like beams of light coming out of it. Nope. Well, I'm gonna make a beam of light coming out of it with some volumetrics. I can do that pretty easily in a second. So kill that. We'll kill this poly there. Cool. And yeah, we'll just have it coming out the side there. You know what, maybe I'll even cut a hole in the top here. Kind of small. Boom. And delete that. All right, cool. That's what we're gonna work with. So we're gonna start with a RedShift material. And we'll just call this cube. Throw that on this guy. And I'm gonna bring in an area light. Did I choose area? No, I chose spot. Area light right there. Go back into object and go ahead and go this way. This way. So we're gonna make this into a nice rim light like David likes to do. Make it nice and thin. And I think this one's coming from the top. So I'm gonna rotate this way. Went 10 degrees too far. Aim it down a bit more. Bring it up in the air. So that's looking pretty good. And I'm going to just crank up the power by like 3. So you can see it's starting to update there pretty quickly. And I'm just going to try my undersampling for you guys. So we're starting to get some cube light. I can probably do another area light. Rotate it this way. Bring it over here. It's looking all right. All right, so we've got that. And we've got our texture on there. So I'm going to go ahead and go in the graph editor. And we can start messing around with some of this texture stuff. Make sure I have that selected. All right, so for this, we're going to call this one base. It's just going to be like a base metal. We're going to start blending some stuff together. So base, and I like lead. We'll use lead, except I think I'm just going to go up to this one here. It's a little bit smoother. It looks like maybe I'm having like a weird normals issue up here. No, they're all facing the same way. That's just weird that that's... I'm going to do a quick selection on that and give it some bevel. Is that just how the reflection is? All right, that's just how the reflection is. That's all right. All right, so we've got our base here. It's looking all right. And I'm going to bring in a texture. And we're going to call this base displace. time are we at? It's already 9:50, so this is going to be a fast David Ariew. And we need our displacement right here. Let's go ahead and go find like a tech it pack. I think I have it in my textures here. Did I not bring it in there? It's just out here. Yep, just floating around. It needs to be organized. All right. So these are like quasi-greeble packs of displacement maps from the French Monkey. This one's particularly awesome. It's called TechIt. Don't need to bring that in, and I'm going to bring this into the displacement texture map and an output, throw it on displacement. It's going to do its little cache thing in the background for a second. Let that go. Cool. So you'll see nothing's happened, and that's because our cube needs a RedShift tag. So we'll throw a RedShift object tag on there under geometry, override, and then displacement turned on. And you'll see we start getting some greebles in there. I'm going to go ahead and throw a plane down here so we can get some light reflecting off the bottom. And one of my favorites is just to throw a tinted glass on there. So we'll throw that on. And under, whoop, just resized really far. Under here, preset tinted glass. Cool, good enough. Now maybe this light here can have a bit more height to it. Come on, there's the little knob. All right, so there's that, and our base is going into the cube a little bit, so I'll move that up there. All right, so you can see, start to get some of that greeble look there, not full on displacement, like what Billy was saying in the chat, but we can pump this up some more, like jock jams. We're gonna pump up the displacement jams. I'm going to go ahead and grab a ramp, and what that does is gives you a gradient to give you a little bit more control and push things a bit further. So we'll pipe that into here and pipe that in the here, and then we're going to lose it because we need to change our source to alt. Come on, update. You can do it. Oh man, does the displacement not let you use an alt map, or is it just because this is pushed so far? Let's see. I think it's because this is pushed so far. Are you screwing with me? RedShift. Yep. Okay. Whatever. We're just gonna adjust the min and max. Take care of this sucker right here, and our new min. There. You know what? This is kind of wrapping weird in some places, so we'll get the triplanar out. Bring that in here. Pipe it in there. Texture, image. So what the triplanar is doing is just saying anywhere that there's seams, actually blend them together. And so now you can see there's no real weird blends, except for like this weird reflection that's happening up here. So if I come down here and hide that, maybe I'll just rotate the cube in general. Whoa, getting crazy. It was like some drunk prom night crazy dance from the cube. All right, so this is starting to look kind of cool. Got some cool greebling going on in there, quasi greebling, and we can probably push this even further. Not far enough. There we go. Maybe bring this up even more. Boom. I'm going to make this scale like 25. Really get some depth in there. All right, so it's kind of semi-greebled like David. He's really got some depth in there though with these chunks. Let's see how far I can I do like a 50? Will it let me push it that far? If I set these back to 0 and 1. getting close. It's getting some deep stuff in there in some spots. Cool. All right. You know what? So that's looking pretty good. I'm going to actually use a blender, and it's called the displacement blender, and it lets you use more than one of these at the same time. So I'm just going to control drag on all those nodes, and we're going to bring this top one in here for base. And let's go find another texture. Boom. Right there. We'll map that into this one, layer, and put there. It's going to do its little cache thing in the background. So we'll just check in the chat, make sure I'm not missing any questions. Guys, if I'm going super fast, which I know I am, but like way too fast for you to keep up, just say slow down or ask me some questions. So what I'm going to do is start blending these together. You'll start to see we get a whole new look in here. It's like Aladdin's coming by with his carpet. Whole new look. Start to it's only layer 0 that we gotta blend. So blend that in some more. All right, so we're starting to get a bunch of different textures layered in there. For that, we've got our base here, but let's make that base kind of grungy. So I'm gonna copy that, and we're gonna just call this plastic, and that will be kind of a paint, and we'll make it like a purpley paint. What we're gonna do is another blender, and this is gonna be our material blender, and we can pipe that right into the surface, and that's gonna go dark. Take our first base color, put it on base. This purple one we're gonna call paint. Cool, and go ahead and bring that in here. That in layer 1 and the layer color. So see in a second. Just trying to cache a little bit. Come on. There we go. Nothing's happening, and that's because we have to start blending this using our black value. So if I bring this up here, start to see some of the paint come in and mix with this aluminum. So we've got a nice aluminum base, and the paint being painted on top of that. If we do additive, it gets even stronger. If you know anything about photo compositing and things like that, it's just like using add in there, or like I think it's called a linear dodge sometimes. So same theory, but this could be kind of gross looking and kind of disheveled. So why don't we start working on that? So if I bring in another texture and use that to control the blend color here, you'll see that goes black because it's got nothing to work with. And I go back into 3D. No, actually I need to go into my stock. Definitely need to organize my 3D stuff. Go into photos, textures, TFM kits. We're going to do grunge, and we'll do 15 because I'm just grabbing whatever. And we'll do roughness. Nope, don't need to copy it. Give that a second to catch up. Do its little background cache, and you'll see the paint is going to start coming through in some of these areas. Thinking about it. Don't want it to be so shiny. Come on. Don't die on me, computer. You can do it. You can pull through. There we go. All right. So we're getting a little bit of splotchiness, but this is where the ramp is going to be really powerful. I know this works. It's not a bug at the moment. All right. So input. Connect that to the blend. And so these values are getting stretched out. We're going to kind of collapse them in on themselves. And I'm going to go ahead and invert this. Do the Alt here. And then I can start to spread this back out. So if we look at it, we have all this paint, but it's getting chipped off and grungy in spots. So if you go watch my previous tutorial about using the node graph, I start to get into this a little bit. So we've kind of got a super fast cube David Ariew knockoff. But you can do so much more. You can get worn edges, and Chad Ashley just did that on Grayscale Gorilla. He did a whole like mech thing where you're using like curvature maps and wearing the edges on that. So if you want to take this even further besides just the tutorials we're doing, that's another great resource. So I might add some noise in here too. Yeah, there we go. Frequency, pump that up. Oh, you know what? It's getting some weird wraps in there. So another reason to use a triplanar. Bring that over. Go boom. And then boom right there for the blend color. So now we shouldn't be getting all that weirdness. Maybe it's because I put it after the ramp. I think it's just how the light's hitting. It's doing that weird thing. So I'm going to change our base from lead to, let's do copper. Screw it. Yeah. Oh, that's like the actual greebling coming through. Okay, I see. That's how that's built. Okay, cool. Rotate around. All right, so I said I was gonna have some light coming out and like beams of light. That was the last thing. So we've got like Kanye West's cube right here, purple and gold. Let's add some light. So what I'm gonna do is normally I would probably use like a spotlight, but I'm gonna just use a point light and have that inside. I'm gonna throw a RedShift environment in here. And nothing's going to happen right away. And that's because we got to turn on some contribution from our point light. So if I go into volume, just do like a 0.05. Just gonna turn. Hey, Jan, what's up, dude? I think I need to crank up my power too on this light. Yep. There we go. So now we can get some volumetric beams of light coming out of this, out of Kanye's castle. Yeah, dude, totally welcome. You know, we're kind of just hanging around. I'm answering some questions from the Brograph channel and my channel too. So if you have a question, man, we're kind of hanging around. So somebody was asking about how to make a David Ariew-esque cube. I don't know what that question really means, so I'm just kind of jamming, making this weird thing here. But if you've got a question about anything, let me know, and I'll try and answer it before we completely run out of time. I know it's 2 minutes over at the moment. Stretch this out here. So this is pretty fun. So the way this is working, why we don't see volumetrics everywhere, is because the only light contributing to it is this point light. So these beams of light are only coming out of the top and the side here, and it might be fun to just kind of like reel this in a little bit, make it orange, maybe blue. Blue might be better. So make it cool, yeah. So now we've got these beams coming out. And like I was saying, the only light that's contributing is this point light. And then if I wanted to add some more to it, if I go into the volume here and I do like 0.005, just a little bit added in. Now you can see the rest of the scene is getting affected by this rim light over there. And you know, that's okay. I don't think it's the look I want to go for, but if you wanted to add a full room of volumetrics, that's how you would do it. You start having your other lights contributing to that. So I think the only thing that this thing is missing is just Schmoopy. It needs to say Schmoopy. So we'll go ahead and do MoGraph, MoText, and I think the requirement for anything David Ariew has to be Papyrus. So let me go ahead and scroll down. Man, my scroll is going slow right now. Papyrus. Oh, no, I'm already down that far. That's good. Wow, come on, scroll. Well, let me search. No, there we go. Oh, it's catching up. Papyrus. And we'll just say Schmoopy. And we can throw our cube color on there too. Go ahead and scale this down. Bring this over here. And we'll just go ahead and bring in one more area light. Go ahead and rock that. I gotta keep it on brand. That's right, Nick. Man, I didn't know you were watching, dude. What's up, Grant? Man, so now that I add Schmoopy, you guys are gonna start chiming in on chat. What is this? All right, so we got Schmoopy right there. And gotta make that rim light really just the bottom there. And this text doesn't have any bevels on, or yeah, bevels, fillets, fillets. Man, I am like getting kind of punch drunk apparently. I don't know why I'm being so silly tonight. We'll just say like 0.25. Just a little bit. It's a nice tiny little tree like Bob Ross. Dude, speaking of Bob Ross, if you guys don't know who Raid Zero is, I know I've brought him up before. Go check out his work. And also, speaking of that, come hang out with us on the Brograph Slack. If you go to brograph.com/Slack, they've got a Slack channel now. It's free. You don't have to like submit a portfolio to get into it and like prove yourself like you do with the MDA Slack. So anyone's welcome. But so Raid Zero's in there and he's showing off some of his behind the scenes work, and he's like the Bob Ross of Cinema4D and Octane. Like, we've got Octane Jesus with David Ariew Schmoopy here, and then now Octane Ross with Raid Zero. So if you don't know who he is, go find him on Twitter and check out his work, because he is just like totally blowing my mind with the stuff he's doing. He's like a gem in the rough that more people need to know about him. Bob Ross is your Halloween costume? That's awesome, man. It's too bad that he is not around anymore, but that is a great costume. I did not want to copy that text. Does the size of the light affect the brightness of the light in Octane? I believe so. Can you spell the Slack name? Yeah, the Slack name is, if you go to Brograph, B as in boy, R as in Roger, O as in Octane, G as in Gus, R as in Roger, A as in Alpha, P as in Paul, H as in Hector. So brograph.com/Slack. Man, I wish I could type in the Slack and just send it to you guys. So
You can find it on the main site if you go to like the extras menu. It's in there too.
okay, so Dave just chimed in and said if you go to brograph.com's main site and then go to extras, it's under extras as well. And then the direct URL should be brograph.com/Slack. Yeah, who is an Octane? That's right, Billy. I should have said R's in RedShift, instead, not Roger. I should have just done Ravcock for all my letters. But yeah, if you guys are watching and you haven't come join us on the Slack channel, it's been really funny. We've got a channel for RedShift, a channel for Octane. We've got a Rick and Morty channel if you want to come talk about Rick and Morty with us. You know, let me switch out of the scene and bring my face back on while I'm talking to you guys. So yeah, we've got a Rick and Morty channel, RedShift, Octane. We've got a Cool Fire for Mitch Myers. Mitch Myers is on there and he hangs out with us. We've got an Octane Jesus channel, or no, it's called Prayers. So you have to say your prayers to Octane Jesus. We've got just like show topic ideas. So if you guys listen to the podcast and you have questions or ideas for the show or people that you want to see on the podcast or hear on the podcast, you can come in there and contribute. So instead of just emailing in and using Twitter and having a few different mediums, I mean, this is another medium to communicate with everybody, but it's really kind of consolidating it and making it more of a community and not just here's an email coming into the Brograph guys. It's more of connecting everybody that's a listener and watching these tutorials and everything and helping each other out. So I'll throw a question in there if I don't know how to do something. We were talking about VR the other day. There's a VR channel, and I ended up buying an Oculus Rift because of all the stuff that was going on with that channel and Facebook and all that. So it's a really good time. You know, I'm going to have to save this file and send it to David just to kind of smear it in his face. So I'm going to do a last call for questions if there's something I can answer really quick because we're about like 10 minutes over. And we'll just do this as RS Schmoopy West. So, but yeah, that's been really fun. And then also, if you have not watched one of these streams before, if you're kind of just chiming in, the way it's been working is every Thursday around 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, we're doing a live stream for roughly an hour. I talk about whatever the tutorial was of the week. So every Tuesday, I've been putting out a RedShift tutorial, just basic stuff, how to get started, and then covering it live on Thursdays. And then on Mondays, there's been new episodes of the podcasts for Brograph for like 2 years now, I think, is the milestone that they just hit, or right, 100 episodes. So I can only think of like a couple times that they've had to skip based on either being too tied up with work or people being sick or traveling or whatever. So if you're looking for something to listen to on your commute to work, check out the Brograph site and then the podcast, and it's on iTunes and Overcast and wherever you can find podcasts, I think, except for Spotify. But I don't know. I haven't tried Spotify podcast yet. So, all right, guys. Let's see. I'm just going to check through the chat one last time and see if I missed anything. So I've got to check out J Displacement. Thanks, Billy, for that. Shiny, Scotchy. There's Shiny and Scotchy. And Rick's Vomit. Yeah, I should have made Rick's Vomit. Cool. All right, I don't think I missed any questions. All right, guys, so I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for contributing and coming to the chat and watching and all the comments you're leaving on YouTube. It's been awesome. I love seeing the count. Oh snap. Can't believe that I actually managed to watch this live show. Oh, man, you're welcome. Thanks, Slobo. Yeah, I mean, if you guys need a different time or day, maybe we can start thinking about that. I only suggested this because it just works really well with my schedule, and it seems to be working well with the Brograph guys who are always on Slack in the background hosting this. Or not Slack, on Skype in the background hosting this. So, if it's not working, we can always talk about it. But it seems like you guys are enjoying it so far, and you guys are totally welcome. Thank you for the thank yous in the chat. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. You can email me at liam@5five-31.com or brograph@brograph.com. Facebook, can find our pages on there. Twitter, it's @brograph or @_, because some ass has that for me. So I have _531. And then, really just if you search for 531 on Google or Brograph, you will find us, and you can reach out to us, ask us questions. I think we said earlier that we're pretty render agnostic. So, questions about Octane, cycles, Arnold, how to convert, how to do certain things. We're trying to kind of branch out, or I can't say we, but myself, I'm trying to be pretty agnostic and answer questions all throughout. All right, guys, thanks so much and have a great evening, especially if you're at NAB East. Go get a scotch.